revenge on cheating wife now ex, as well as the karma that came afterwards. So I'm in the army and married. I was about to go on my first deployment to Iraq. It was very stressful, and my wife begged me to find a way to remain and avoid deployment. Things that any wife would attempt to discuss. Anyway, we don't have any children, but we both want them. So while I'm away, we chat about getting out of debt. She communicates with her closest buddy back home in another state where we both come from. Her buddy offers to let her move in and charge a low rent of $300 a month, so that when I return, we can get out of debt and start a family. I was really pretty satisfied with the idea. When I deploy, she is there bawling her eyes out, claiming she will miss me and loves me, and that when we return we will start a family. Let's fast forward 2 months. She begins to seem distant. We didn't want to chat much on our planned conversations, so we texted 1 or 2 word responses. We've been together for 6 years, and she's never been at a loss for words. Anyway, one day she says, "I need some space," and she asks someone 10,000 kilometers away for it. When I ask why, she claims she just wants space. She wants to discover herself. So, while we were living at home, she had a man who was constantly being borderline improper. I'm not a jealous person, and I believe in her. So I start seeing said man in pretty much every image she publishes with a group. Every time he appears in a photograph. Everyone else evolves, but he never does. So for the first time, I'm envious and concerned about everything. So I clone her phone and get every text message she receives, as well as every text message she sends. I'll never forget the first text message I received after cloning her phone. "Hey darling, I'll see you after work. Do you want some of my leftovers?" He owes her 1. It annihilated me. In 1 week, I shed 35 pounds. I didn't eat or sleep because I was too preoccupied on the phone. Listening and on every chat. I was listening to them speak about trying to have a kid. It was everything a married person dreads. I ask her whether she's seeing someone, and she answers no. She is looking after herself and loves me, blah blah. For the next 2 months, I don't mention anything about receiving her messages. During this time, she eventually confesses to straying and that he is so much better at than I am, treating her well, and doing what she wants. During this period, she pays off our debt, gets tattoos with him, matching I love you tattoos, attends performances with him, buys clothing and so on. With the money I'm bringing in. So here is where the vengeance begins. I placed the account on hold for a month and changed every password on every account to something she couldn't guess, Army jargon slang terms. I blocked her on Facebook and on my phone, so she can't reach me. She lost her vehicle to repossession a few months later, was evicted from her apartment, and was forced to sell her cherished shoes and handbags simply to survive. I later learned that she has taken a job at her previous eatery. So I publish all of the text conversations I've had with her and the man about having kids that have timestamps on them, as well as discussions we've had with matching timestamps showing all of our friends what she's done. I then had friends phone and complain about her work on both he and her. They work at a restaurant, therefore I have pals who dine and dash there as well. They are both fired. So she attempts to summon my command and inform them that I am leaving her and that she is unable to care for herself. My commander is aware of the situation. He does nothing since he experienced a similar experience. Then about a month before I return, she phones from a different number to inform me she's pregnant with his child. Remember, I'm still away, so we can't divorce just yet. She walked away from him. I'm 10 hours away. 24th of April, 2018. She calls me, 5 months pregnant, sobbing violently, and asks where she should go. After what seems to be a massive blow-up, she informs him that she is leaving. I just answer, sorry, not my issue anymore, when she claims she doesn't know where to go. Let's fast ahead. This year, January, she phones me on the phone of mutual buddy. He smacked me. I'm not sure what to do. Perhaps you don't cheat on your spouse while he's deployed for some man who talks a great game, I said. Well, I presume you're thrilled about that, she says. No, but I'm delighted I'm not the evil person in this narrative, I say. Then the next month, he's cheating on me with 2 other women. I apologize. I'm sorry for what I've done. I messed everything up. Yeah, you did, I said. Overall, this lady ruined my life. I went into a profound depression, which I'm still struggling with. But having confirmation that I wasn't the issue makes me feel a bit better. To think that if this had occurred even 10 or 5 years ago, I would have returned to an empty bank account, an empty home, and my then-wife pregnant with another man's child. She really called me yesterday to beg for money to assist with rent. Edit. Please answer a few questions. I forgot to mention that we split before the child was born, so I have no financial obligation to her and haven't for about a year. To clone the phone, I mostly utilize T-Mobile's digit service. I'd rather Google it than type it. Also, I wasn't enjoying the fact that she had been physically beaten. I did encourage her to contact the police, but that was it. It's wrong to mistreat someone, but I also have no obligation to look out for her well-being. Story 2. I got arrested because of cheating ex-wife. So I have an old Reddit account that I just use for gaming. I like playing my XB1X. I like playing a variety of games. But this isn't about video games. This is about what my ex-wife and her lover forced me to go through. I married the lady I was madly in love with 5 years ago. She was continually telling me how much she loved me. Always threw me for a loop. He was always sleeping on me. I felt she was ideal. I lost my job one day. I was a manager. As the company's fortunes began to deteriorate, they were forced to let me leave. Money wasn't coming in like it used to. I began using Uber. I worked for 6 hours a day. Did a good job. It's not like a boss, but it's okay. After 8 hours of Uber, I decided to go home one day. When I go home, I see a Mercedes-Benz parked in front of my house. As in, is this the proper car? I walk in and curse you. I can hear her from the other side of the dang continent. I slam into the space. Some white dude effed up my wife. I thrashed the hell out of this man. He ruined his lovely face. He stomped his foot on my rug. Now I have blood on my carpet. My wife is attempting to shove me off of him. I pushed her to the ground and began smashing anything in sight. I hauled the jerk out of my home, but naked. I attempt to trap down the stupid bee, but she's gone missing. Now that I think about it, it's like something out of a horror movie, aha, but I'm going away for 2 days. When I return, I notice officers waiting for me. I was detained on suspicion of violence. That man didn't appear to realize she was married. Women are petty. Most women, at least. I was detained for 24 months. 2 years. 2 years as a result of a WH. I was assaulted, stabbed, and jumped while I was in there. For what? 2 years. When I got back home, she was still living there. Technically, it was still her residence. She wanted to make amends. I really wanted to shatter her nose. Now I'm a guy who despises liars. I'm not going to lie. I didn't even touch her. But man, I verbally and emotionally battered the living daylights out of her. She was called a variety of names. She began to drink more and more. She was fired for hiding alcohol in the workplace. I'm talking about roughly 5 bottles here. I'm so stupid, haha. The contract had expired. The residence was given to me by the judge. She was compelled to leave. She's fortunate I didn't pay her for all the beatings I received in jail, else I'd be back. Now there's this viral nonsense going on. I've lost another job, haha. I used to be a delivery driver. I'm performing a DoorDash right now. I drive for roughly 10 hours a day. It's a good deal. Is my marriage still going on? No. I completed the divorce 6 months after I threw her out. Will I get married again? Nah, El Mao. Women are just good for causing problems. Once they cease obtaining what they want, they will cheat on you with someone else. What are you marrying for? Marriage is a high-priced contract that wrecks men's life. People used to have more regard for themselves and their families back in the day. The irony is that I last saw X 2 weeks ago. She was out on the streets because her lover had found another female to bash. We grew up in the same area together. She is still in the neighborhood. Here's the real kicker. Why did she feel the need to apologize after 5 years? She wanted to confess. I have no idea. She confessed to me that she felt lonely, that money wasn't flowing in like it used to. We were battling just to keep ourselves clean. It wasn't all that horrible, haha. Slight exaggeration, and then this man comes along and takes advantage of her weakness. It makes her happy, smile, and laugh. When I couldn't be there for her, probably because I was committed on making money for us all, that I was constantly on the go, that I altered as a result of stress. I informed her of this. We promised each other when we married that we would always have one another's back, that we will always be a group, that not even water can separate us. You betrayed your pledge because you were swayed by a gorgeous-faced man in a great automobile. Because of you, I ended up in prison. Have you seen this scar? My stab wounds. I was stabbed twice. It's all your fault. I think of you every time I see this scar. She burst out weeping and attempted to apologize to me. I chuckled and urged her to go home and be careful. She said, "Where do you want to go?" I turned around and said, Well, she so, how about your parents? Sadly, they were the ones that booted her out law. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll return her. They should do it before she becomes ill, however.